Nassir Little punishes the rim.
We'll talk about him in a minute. Nassir Little.
Nassir Little brings the thunder.
Nassir Little, the physical specimen who entered the season as a potential top 5 pick, thanks to his tools, defensive versatility, steady offensive improvement, and approach to the game. The former McDonald's All-American and Jordan Brand Classic MVP, Little was a man amongst boys on the All-Star circuit. From a physical perspective, Little closely resembles Boston Celtics standout Jaylen Brown, both standing around 6'6", with powerful 225-pound frames and plus athleticism. Like Little, Brown also came into college with a lot of hype, but struggled to produce efficiently, in part due to the circumstances he was dealt. But Brown has developed into one of the Boston Celtics' most promising young pieces. He showed out against Cam Reddish, RJ Barrett, and Zion Williamson at different showcases, and despite an underwhelming freshman season at North Carolina, still fits the profile teams are looking for in a modern combo forward. Nassir Little is one of the draft's most explosive leapers when he's able to load up with momentum, playing with his head at the rim in transition off of 1 or 2 feet. His 8'9" standing reach combined with his powerful bounce makes him a dynamic lob tart in the half court as he shows outstanding extension around the rim out of a variety of different actions. Little also has extremely long strides, allowing him to get to the front of the rim in only 1 dribble when he catches on the move with a head of steam. Because of that stride length, Little should benefit from a more wide open NBA. The rangy forward puts his tools to good use on the backboards as well, especially on the offensive end, as he snagged 3.5 offensive rebounds per 40 minutes last season. Putbacks made up over 11% of his offense as a freshman. While some of that is due to roll, he showed glimpses of a high motor, keeping plays alive, using his 7'1" wingspan and leaping ability to hammer home putback dunks. He's a multiple effort rebounder on occasion as well, especially following his own misses. He'll get physical in a crowd and has the tools to be a high-level defensive rebounder as well, which should allow him to function quite a bit more in small ball 4 situations, where he's best suited offensively. Little's strong, 225-pound frame allows him to shed contact on his way to the rim, maintaining balance and striding it out. He generated 6.1 free throws per 40 minutes, in large part because of that physicality. His powerful frame allows him to take smalls onto the block as well. As he continues to improve his finesse around the rim, he has the leaping ability, length, and strength to become a well above average finisher at the NBA level. Little holds far more scoring upside than your typical toolsy, defensive-oriented forward in his mold, as he averaged 21.6 points per 40 minutes despite an up-and-down season on that end of the floor. While he doesn't think the game at a high level and struggled to shoot it from 3, Little isn't void of touch, as he's a career 76% free throw shooter with workable mechanics from 3. He's more than capable with his feet set as the ball comes out cleanly with rotation and solid arc, despite some bad misses last season. As he adjusts to the NBA line, Little has the touch and mechanics to eventually become a league average shooter with his feet set. Because of the nature of his release, he shows some potential on the move as well, with the ability to hop into DHOs or off-screen threes and elevate over the top of his defender. Part of the reason Little was ranked so highly at a high school was due to the growth he showed with the ball in his hands, even rising up off the bounce for pull-ups on occasion. While a rigid ball handler, he's capable of planting 1-2 for mid-range pull-ups going left or hopping into jumpers going to his right. Although in the 30th percentile on pull-ups last season, the sample was small, and the fact that Little even shows glimpses of step-backs like you see here against Stanford tells you all you need to know in terms of his talent level and ability to become more than just a wing defender in the NBA. Where Little can really add value offensively is as a straight-line driver. He's shown the ability to grab and go in transition on occasion, here attacking a slow-footed defender to his left, thanks to those long strides. He's powerful attacking closeouts and has a fairly quick step from a standstill for a 225-pound forward, here roasting Reddish after a rip through. So long as he's able to slide up and play some 4 consistently, Little should have value as a mismatched driver given his physical tools, especially if his jumper comes around. Where Little really has a chance to make an impact early on in his career is on the defensive end. His motor fluctuates too often, and his spatial awareness is poor, but when he's locked in, he has the tools to check up to 4 positions in the NBA. Although not overly quick-footed, he's rangy enough to keep wings in front, as you can see here against Reddish, even getting a piece of his jumper on the closeout. His stance and discipline could use work, but his length and frame are certainly a factor, making him tough to finish over in the paint. Even though he gets beat off the dribble more than he should, that 7'1" wingspan and 8'9" reach help him erase shots in the paint, as he averaged 1.2 blocks per 40 minutes as a freshman. Maybe even more valuable than the perimeter potential is the fact that he's strong and long enough to slide up and check more traditional bigs, here meeting 6'11" Malik Williams with length and physicality. His long arms are certainly a factor on post-entry passes as well, and he has the agility to compete with more modern-oriented bigs like Zion Williamson, while still remaining physical and using that reach to challenge shots. Again, his engagement needs to improve, but he has tremendous range and all the tools to chase shooters around screens as well, recovering to contest with length. Those long arms help him poke the ball away, even if he does allow a catch. He falls asleep too often, but the fact that he can cover ground that quickly gives a glimpse of his sky-high defensive potential. Off the ball, the awareness is not there, but he's still capable of being disruptive in the passing lanes. Should the game ever slow down for him and his motor ramp up consistently, Little could be one of the league's more versatile defenders on and off the ball, even if he's away from maximizing his potential at this stage. In addition to North Carolina's depth, Little's shaky feel for the game is one of the reasons he logged only 18 minutes a night under Roy Williams. Too hungry to live up to his high school ranking, Little rarely let the game come to him, hoisting too many contested pull-ups that didn't come within the flow of the offense. He turned down rhythm threes for contested long twos, really looking sped up in the process. He struggled to play read and react basketball, seeming to panic, kill his dribble, and hoist up an off-balance, unorthodox jumper when his first move was taken away. Little's low shot quality was the main reason for his 55.5 true shooting percentage, as he relied too much on off-balance followaways and was extremely predictable, forcing the issue with spins back to his left or right hand. Little simply doesn't see the floor naturally, regularly missing shooters and finishing with 23 assists to 48 turnovers and a .48 assist to turnover ratio. He has tunnel vision with the ball in his hands and struggled to make even the most basic one-more pass on the perimeter, as you can see here with Kenny Williams wide open and Kobe White not pleased about the lack of execution. A late riser who hadn't played in an extremely high level of competition early on in his career, Little's catch-and-hold style didn't translate well to the collegiate level and made it difficult for Roy Williams to stick with him for long stretches, especially with veterans slotted ahead of him. When Little does see the pass, he struggles to execute. UNC's spacing wasn't always ideal, but he simply wasn't very sure-handed with the ball, too often coughing it up against pressure. Little will need to do a much better job of valuing the rock in the NBA, as the shot creation possessions he'll see should be few and far between early on in his NBA career. On top of his feel, Little's shooting consistency is one of his bigger question marks. He needs to improve his shot preparation, but even when he does catch with his hands and feet ready, Little struggled mightily, knocking down only 26.9% of his threes and ranking in the 20th percentile on catch-and-shoot jumper efficiency. While his mechanics are workable, Little fired up all types of misses as a freshman. Short, long, left, right, all glass. His mechanics break down a bit when heavily contested, and he gets caught between a set and a jump shot at times, shooting on the way down in mid-range spots. While his shooting figures to improve, he still has quite a bit of work to do with the ball in his hands. He committed far too many live ball turnovers going right or left. He's too loose with the ball and hasn't yet proven that he's worthy of the shot creation opportunities that he hunted so often at North Carolina. Even more than live ball turnovers, it was clear just how much the ball slowed him down on his way to the rim, especially on his left hand, which he prefers to go to. Although more than willing, he looked unnatural attacking to his left hand and just doesn't have a wide variety of moves in his arsenal, regularly going right and trying to spin back left in clunky fashion. Whether it's from the perimeter or the mid-post, Little won't be able to fully take advantage of his athletic gifts until he can shore up his handle. Lastly, he wasn't the finisher that his tools suggested either, converting a good, not great, 56% of his shots at the rim in the half court. While gifted with length and athleticism, his touch and finesse around the rim can stand to improve. He would also benefit from adding change of direction moves, like a Euro step, rather than just trying to barrel his way through the help defense. For Little to maximize his sky-high defensive potential, he needs to remain engaged. As you can see here against Cam Reddish, he's too often caught upright, especially when there's a ball screen involved, as he loses focus easily and remains flat-footed. His anticipation as an on-ball defender needs work as well. He doesn't have a great feel for how his opponent is going to attack him, either biting wildly on fakes or struggling to react to a counter move if he takes away the initial drive. As you can see here, he works to body up Zion Williamson, but is giving him his patented drop step and finish over his right shoulder, his go-to move. He's too upright guarding the post also, which hurts his ability to recover quickly. Little needs more reps against high-level offensive players to start learning opponents' tendencies and how he can stop them. Off the ball, Little is regularly spun around defensively, losing complete sight of his man. You can see here against Jack White, he's in no man's land after giving help on Barrett, which should have been a fairly basic recovery. Then this time defending Jordan Goldwire, he's completely lost in space as Goldwire sprints along the baseline for an open look. He doesn't get burned, but you can see that deer in the headlights look and lack of spatial awareness. He was prone to missing weak side tags and pick and roll. As you can see here against Duke, he needs to take Javin DeLaurier at the rim. Even though he's somewhat in position, he doesn't react to the pass or make an attempt to use his freakish length at the rim. Then against Louisville, Luke May calls for the switch onto Malik Williams, but Little doesn't register it, and Williams eventually finishes at the rim. On this possession, you can see just how hugged up he is against his man here. Now, this isn't his direct rotation, but he's certainly not helping North Carolina on the weak side. When he is fully engaged and playing with a motor, Little tends to overhelp too consistently, leaving shooters even when the ball is fairly contained. He gave sharpshooters like Jordan Nwora open looks consistently because of his lack of conceptual understanding. Little lacked urgency on the offensive end of the floor for the better part of the season, walking up and down the floor rather than staying active and making himself available. He was too often out of position as UNC tried to get into its offense and rarely sprinted into screens with a sense of purpose. The fact that Kobe White was still developing as a point guard didn't help, but the lack of urgency he showed getting to his spots, screening, cutting, and keeping the ball moving was certainly a turnoff to NBA scouts.
Catch that. Wow. Nice touch there, Nassir Little.
Little isn't short on question marks. Will he ever be able to think the game at a high enough level to be more than just a wing defender? Does he have the consistent motor to impact the game like his tools suggest on the defensive end? Even with that in mind, it's hard to find 6'6" wings with a 7'1" wingspan, strong frame, defensive versatility, and the potential to at least develop into a league average shooter. With impressive intangibles and a good head on his shoulders, Little is the type of prospect a smart team will target, betting on his development despite an up-and-down freshman season at North Carolina. Little's game is much more suited for the spacious NBA, and whoever selects him in the lottery on June 20th could eventually be nabbing a steal, as his value may never be this low again.
So I got to do the dirty work and kind of make a good impression on the sky.